Welcome one and all to yet another Age of Sigmar battle report, Stormcast Eternals versus Kruleboyz. This was another game played in the hallowed halls of Warhammer World recently, with me, Andy, taking on Remington Steel, who's not with us tonight because he's very busy this next couple of weeks. So, let's dive in, shall we, as we remove the thumbnail. So a couple of interesting twists to this game before we start diving through all the pictures. I'll just put you on the first image there. So, interesting points for this game. 1,550 points. The previous game we played was 1,500. And I have not taken any units that were present in that last game. So, not even just different versions of the same unit. Everything is completely different. 100% different war scrolls in this game for the Stormcast. The Kruleboyz don't have such luxuries though, because Remington's model collection isn't quite as vast as my own, for that particular army at least. So, his is fairly similar with a couple of changes however. And as we go back and look at the thumbnail there, also by the way, this is the first video I'm streaming from my new house. Well, it's not a new house, but it's new for me to live in it. So, if the internet is not very good, then we'll find out if the stream is terrible. So let me know what the quality is like afterwards, or during if you manage to catch this live, if you're one of the lucky ones. So keep me updated on that, and hopefully the internet will be sufficient so that I don't have to upgrade it, because that would be cheaper. So this battle is going to be Savage Gain's battle plan, and as you can see, as I have my arrow on screen here, the cursor, you can see we've got the 4 objectives there, and the one closest to your opponent's territory is worth more points to you. The middle ones are worth 2 if you control one of those, and the one on your half, the one right on the edge of your territory, is only worth 1 to you. So you only need to hold 3 objectives to score the maximum victory points for the turn. You don't need to hold both of the central objectives. So something to note there. And of course there's the usual battle tactics and grand strategies as well. I'll tell you which grand strategy I have chosen very shortly. So, as we observe the battlefield, you notice that I don't have many units actually on the table at the start, but I am playing Stormcast Eternal, so it's not that unusual, and you can actually see my war scrolls laid out there. So, eagle-eyed among you will probably be able to see which units I've taken. Stardrake, notably, being the only one smack bang in the middle of the table there, opposite Remington's entire army, who are bunched together because he's got some synergies going on, and he's trying to make the most of them in this game, after his forces took a bit of a battering in the previous game, as you may remember. And in the ruins I've got some units there as well, and some others setting up in the Celestial Realm, ready to be bolted down from the heavens at any moment. So, you can see the hand of Remington there, taking some cinematic shots of his own, and now it's gone. So I don't know how we managed to be table 34 and table 35 at the same time. I think the table next door just moved their card onto our table. So obviously, the mighty Stardrake is a Lord Celestant on Stardrake, and it's been equipped with the mirror shield, because it's one of the only things that I'm going to set up on the table. I don't want it being shot down immediately, so I actually want it to get close to the enemy before it's taking any damage. In the ruins we've got 5 evocators, a unit that I've barely used. I'm not even sure if I've ever used them. It's possible they may have come out once before, but first time in a long time at the very least, so we'll see how they go. In there we've also got a Lord Relictor, and we've also got 3 Praetors as his bodyguard. So those are the units starting on the table. Starting off the table, we've got 3 Prosecutors, we've got 5 Judicators, and we've got 3 Annihilators with hammers and shields. So none of these units featured in the last game, so they're all making it into this one. The Stardrake obviously taking up the bulk of the points. And I can tell you the specific upgrades that I took on this army as well, other than just the mirror shield. I'm just going to pull my army up here in the Stormforge of the Age of Sigmar app. So let's see. So the Lord Celestant on Star Drake not only does it have Mirror Shield, it's got the command trait Master of the Celestial Menagerie. So that means subtract 1 from wound rolls made in melee against friendly Stormcast units that have the Behemoth battlefield roll. So that's pretty much just himself. I believe it applies to yourself. I think you still have the Behemoth battlefield roll if you're the general. I assume that's correct. I think I forgot to use it half the game anyway. Mount traits Celestial Instinct, so this unit can retreat and either still shoot or charge in the same turn. So I want it to be flying around doing most of my damage. I don't want it to get bogged down fighting something it doesn't want to fight. And my Lord Relictor has the Bless Weapons Prayer. So just a nice little boost there. Nothing too interesting or exciting on him. And now we move over to the Kruleboyz. So I can't remember what all the Kruleboyz units are called, so I'm just going to have a look on the app right now. Let's see. Where are the... Oh, here we go. So, we've got a Breaker Boss on Maya Brute Troggoth at the back there. So, very scary. We've also got... I believe the flyer is, for the purposes of this game, is representing the Killer Boss on Corpse Ripper Vulture. I believe that's what it's representing in this game. Next up, we've got the Battle Line. It is the Kruleboyz sub-faction that allows the Bolt Boys to be taken as battle lines. There's 6 of those in a unit. There is also a Kill Bow at the back there. There is a unit of Gut Rippers there, 10 of them. And behind them we have the Sludge Raker. What's the full name of that thing? I assume it's in here somewhere. Snatcher Boss on Sludge Raker Beast. There you go. And then right at the end there is the Killer Boss on Great Gnashtooth. So, I believe this list is actually illegal. I'm not sure whether it's over points. It usually is when we're talking about Remington. But not only was it probably over points, it's also got an illegal number of heroes in it, has it? How many has it got? Oh yeah, because there's also a Shaman there, lurking. So with that Shaman, then I think... What's that one's name, though? It's the one that brews the potions, but I can't remember what it's called. Oh, there we go. Swamp Caller, Shaman, and Potgrot. So, I believe there are too many heroes for this points level, but it doesn't really matter because he's working within the limitations of his model collection. The only thing that was left out, really, was the Hobgrot unit, because of what he deemed to be an ineffective and overall poor performance in the last game. They have been ditched. So, there's the battlefield. What is my strategy here? Well, I don't want to engage immediately because everything around, I believe it's the Sludge Raker Beast, everything around that is going to be buffed and dish out even more mortal wounds to me, which is kind of the bane of my existence as a Stormcast player at the moment. So I'd rather not face that, so I'm going to wait and see if his line spreads out a little bit. I'm going to be able to make Remington deploy first because I've got less drops. I didn't take a lot of battalions though. So the one I did take, let's see, did I take a battalion? Let's have a look. I don't think I did actually. Don't think I bothered with any battalions. So I didn't have the opportunity to one drop or anything like that, but I did have less drops. So let's count how many I've got actually. So Remington's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there you go. So I was able to make Remington go first, which is what I want, because I want him to advance and leave spaces for my units to drop down around him. I don't have the Lord Imperatant, so I'm not going to be able to deploy anything within 7 inches, which obviously is nice. Not going to be able to do that, so I'm just going to look for opportunities to drop down. The Judicators aren't on the table immediately because I don't want them getting shot down straight away, mainly by any of this little gun battery. The Star Drake can't be targeted in turn 1, everyone else is in cover, so I just want to give the Kruleboyz a totally ineffective turn of shooting to kick off the game. That's my plan here, and when they inevitably spread out to cover the objectives, unless the sludge raker marches right into the middle and doesn't join in contesting any of them, and maybe guns for this one, then that could be an issue. But anything that strays away from that, I'm going to chase after in turn 1 and try and kill it. Drop down units nearby, and we'll see how it goes. So, Remington's chosen the monstrous takeover battle tactic to pick one monster and contest an objective. And that's it. So, not too difficult. Puts his big flying beastie, whose name I've forgotten, so I'm just going to permanently pull up the war scrolls for this army. So that would be the... Where's it gone now? It was the something vulture, wasn't it? Kruleboyz on Corpse Ripper Vulture. So it's parked right on that objective, so it's going to get his battle tactic. Everyone else not going forward too far. He's not spreading too many units out away from the Sludge Raker's aura. And he's going to be able to do a little bit of shooting into cover and manages to kill 2 evocators. So imagine if they weren't in cover, that would have been nasty, wouldn't it? Overall, not much was accomplished by Remington though. So he's only picked up 5 victory points there because he wasn't able to reach this objective. So picked up 1 there, 2 there, and 2 for the battle tactic, which was also achieved here. So what am I going to do in the next turn? Well, the Star Drake is eyeing up this thing. I would like to fight on my terms, so I would like to move over there, charge it, drop down some Judicators, maybe around here, shoot it as well, and hopefully kill it in one go, so that I'm not being, for one, not being attacked back by it, which could do some damage, and then once I'm locked down there, if Remington should get the next turn, then this whole mess here could swarm into the Star Drake as well, and I wouldn't be choosing who goes first in combat at that point. So I would ideally not like to be fighting all these units at once, just going to try and go all out and kill this thing in one round. And my battle tactic, I've chosen aggressive expansion. So pick 2 objective markers on the battlefield that are not wholly within your territory, and complete it if you hold both objectives. So we weren't sure if this was the correct way of this running here, but this objective isn't wholly within my territory, as far as I can tell, so that counts as one of the 2. Okay, so I'm going to assume that's one of them, and the other one is that one here I'm going to go for as well. So Finest Hour. We've both Finest Houred our heroes up because I think Rem sensed that I was going to gun for this thing since it's been left out on its own on the flank a little bit. So I'm going to be heading straight over there. In the middle, the Annihilators and the Prosecutors land. The Prosecutors are going to charge in first with their extra long charge and absorb some Unleash Hell. That's the plan here, so then the Annihilators can have a go. And hopefully they'll make it, but it's by no means a guarantee. But if they don't, then I'm still on this objective as well. Testing that. And everyone else is moving forward now because we've used up a turn of enemy shooting. I might even get a double turn, which means I could move up even further and then maybe get some charges. Judicators pop down here, ready to shoot that thing. I use a command point on the Star Drake, and I think that was, I may have put all out attack on it in the shooting phase, so I could do some extra shooting to this thing. Some extra shooting damage. Now I've got it up 6 wounds done on it already, which is a good start. And the Prosecutors do make it into combat, so they're going to eat some Unleash Hell, and they all die. But as you can see, one of the Bolt Boys was killed as a result of the exploding Prosecutor. So that's nice. But these guys just failed to make it into combat, unfortunately. The Annihilators couldn't roll it. Star Drake does get in, however, so this heavily wounded Kruleboyz on Corpse Ripper Vulture is about to eat some Star Drake pain in the face. So, all out attack in the close combat phase as well. And it looks like Mr. Remington has put Finest Hour and what's that, +1? Is that +1 to hit? Put there? I can't tell. But anyway, Star Drake murderlates it. So it's dead. Which is exactly what I wanted. And now any enemies that come in here are going to be coming in in small enough quantities, hopefully, to deal with. I won't have to worry about that giant creature being there. So that's got me my battle tactic, because I've stolen this objective. And at the end of that round, I pick up 5 points again. So I did my battle tactic, and I also own the objective markers that are relevant to me. Not the one on, let's see. So, this one and this one, they don't both mean something. I'm not sure actually. Have I even got this one? I'd have to look at the way objectives are scored. Do you have to like end a movement within range of it or something? Where did the Star Drake end up before I charged it? Probably quite far away. Let's have a look. Probably. Yeah, maybe that was done incorrectly, I'm not sure. I can't remember at which point you flip the objective over to your own side. So someone will have to remind me of that. Into the next turn, and Remington is going to be going first. There's no double turn. And by the way, you'll notice that some of these guys are dead, some additional ones. That is because... Okay, so the one that was removed before was a shooting attack. Can't remember who did it, but one was killed, and we forgot to take off the 2 from the prosecutors blowing up. So we did that at the end of the round. So there's only 3 of those at the moment. Got his whole army bunched together here, though. And in fact, he's kind of retreating around the terrain. Because we said, let's just assume that this piece of terrain, like this one, has a base on it. So if you're standing right next to it, up against it, you'll get cover. So he seems to be worried about my shooting and doesn't want to advance at this stage. But you can see he does actually come out now. So the previous turn he had himself surrounding that terrain, and in this turn he's come out to play because he's spied some juicy, potentially tasty annihilators there that he can eat, and he should be able to chew through them. I've put all out defense on them in the shooting phase, which doesn't help against one of them. In fact, I'm finding that the armor and the all-out defense isn't doing that much against the Kruleboyz, because most of the wounds he's inflicting are mortal wounds. So many things are just dishing out mortal wounds on 5s or 6s, and it's often multiples of mortal wounds as well. So the armor isn't really coming up. I barely have to make any armor saves to this point. And he wipes out another one, so there is one left for the combat phase after all the shooting's gone in. And the Sludge Raker makes its way in and eats him. So the Annihilators are all dead, sadly. Very sad indeed. And they are within range of this objective. So let me see if I am currently... I think I'm contesting this one at the moment. I've got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4... And I think he counts as 2, the Lord Relictor. I think this guy might count as 2, and this guy count as 5, so it might be contested if all of these guys are in range. And that would mean that he doesn't own either of those objectives. And it looks like that's the case, because he's only picked up 3 points. The battle tactic he chose was pick 1 battle line unit. And I suppose I should have mentioned as well that the Annihilators were battle line in this army, because I chose the... Let me pull up the army here, and I can tell you about the special rule for it as well. So it's the Knights Excelsior, and that means... I believe their special rule is once per game you can give extra juicy combat to paladin units, which obviously there didn't come up because now they're all dead, aren't they? So not a great start there. If I could get a double turn from this point, I'd be very confident, and I'm in a position to possibly do it. So on to my next turn. The command points build up again, and I've chosen Slay the Warlord. So I didn't have a great deal of choice with my battle tactics here. I didn't have any that I felt really confident I could achieve. But fine star on the Relictor. So what instead I did, instead of picking one that I knew I could achieve, I picked one that might encourage Rem to play a bit defensively with his Warlord to not get eaten. Because I think his Warlord is... Let me see. Which one is it? I can't remember if it's this one or this one. But whichever one it is, he's probably going to pile a load of buffs onto it. Maybe a bit of Finest Hour, something like that. Upon seeing I've chosen the battle tactic for Slay the Warlord. It might even... I think it does actually redeploy away from me, whichever one it is. So I'm going to use that just to keep one of them away and then target the other one. We'll see which one it is in a minute. So finest hour on the Lord Relictor, and he's going to attempt a prayer on this unit, but rolls a 1. So takes a wound for Lord Relictor. And everyone moving in, and I think the Sludge Raker actually redeploys away. I think that is the general. So I'm going to be targeting this one instead. And you can see a command point used there for the redeploy. So I don't think he should have been afraid, really. The Sludge Raker should not have been scared of the Lord Relictor and a few Evocators and Praetors. I don't think he should have been that scared. I think he should have stayed and fought, personally. Or if he's going to redeploy right next to this thing, so that if I charge in, I'm very likely to bring that into combat as well. The Judicators, I put a lot of attack on them in the shooting phase and pile up some wounds on the Troggoth. And the Stardrake gets into position as well, and with a bit of lightning breath, a bit of shooting attack from the Stardrake, gets it up to 6 wounds we've taken now. So in combat I'm hoping to kill that this turn. And yes, after the combat, the Troggoth is dead. And I had to be very careful to allocate enough attacks from the Stardrake to kill the Troggoth and then put the rest on the unit. So you can see there's only 4 of them left at the end of the combat. So that is very nice indeed. Everyone goes into this guy and not doing much. All out defense on the Praetors. One of them still dies. 2 of them die. And 6 wounds onto this guy with the Lord Relictor. And did the Praetor add anything? I can't remember, but 6 wounds done. It's a decent start getting rid of that hero. This flank isn't looking that tasty. Some of these units, I've obviously not got that much practice with them. These guys and the Evocators, even the Lord Relictor I haven't used for a very long time, even though he's very highly thought of in the community. And here, you can see Stardrake takes 2 wounds from the Gut Rippers, but that's not a concern. I've still got that objective because there's only 4 of them there. That's nice. And this boss is dead as a result of the Praetor finishing it off. So that is very nice, having slain the Warlord, but I did use that battle tactic in order to encourage the Warlord to run away from me. So that'll do. And that's the end of the turn. So I'm now holding this objective, this absolutely crucial one, I think. Where am I? Let's see. I'm not sure if that guy's in range within 6 to contest it, actually, so I might hold that one. We'll know very shortly. Because I think I am holding it. So, yes, so 7 victory points. So, I'm still holding this one. That's 1. I'm holding one of these. That's another 2. And then I'm holding this one. That's another 4. So, 7 victory points for that turn. Very, very nice indeed. Who's going to go first in round 3, though? It's going to be the Kruleboyz of Master Remington, and he's chosen aggressive expansion. Pick 2 objective markers on the battlefield that are not wholly within your territory, and complete the battle tactic if you control both of them at the end of this turn. So he's going to try and claim that one, and to that end, the Sludge Raker is charging in and will be hoping to kill them off. Does kill off one of the Praetors, and does kill off the Relictor as well. So he's going to claim that objective. And he doesn't have that many models left, so it's a pretty quick turn, and neither do I, actually. It's been a bit of a bloodbath. There's not a lot left. You can still see the Shaman hiding in there, who's been pretty ineffective so far, it has to be said. Stardrake I've managed to keep safe from staying away from the Sludge Raker's aura, so he's not just going to be taking endless mortal wounds, and also picking targets and not engaging too much at once. So Remington doesn't achieve too much there. I think he just has this objective, which is why he gets 2 points. So he didn't achieve his battle tactic. So I think, like me, he was running out of useful battle tactics to use in this game. So it's my next turn coming up now. So I think, let's see, how many points have I got? So I've got 12. And the Remster is currently on 10. So I'm in the lead, and I've still got another turn and possibly a double turn to come. So on my turn 3, we've got Finest Hour on the Sludge Raker. I use a bit of rally action and thankfully managed to bring back 2 Evocators. That's nice, so I've got a few more models now. The shooting phase, you can see some of the Bolt boys are dead. But closing in on the Sludge Raker, hoping to kill it this turn. But we'll find out. A bit of all-out attack action on the Star Drake. And a bit of +1 to wound on the Star Drake as well. And everybody get flying in there. Let's do some murdering. Well, it looks like these guys have actually been killed already. But the Star Drake just needs to kill it now, surely. We'll be able to do that, but not this turn. So, the Judicators are on that objective still, chilling out. Star Drake is holding an objective after killing the Sludge Raker. And it's pretty much going to be over now. All that's left to do, because in this I think this was actually killed. If I not marked the end of the turn, I think it may have been killed in my shooting phase even. That doesn't sound right, does it? Maybe I just haven't marked the end of the turn. So it's dead. Star Drake is now going to finish off the Shaman, and it's dead. And that's all the Kruleboyz gone. So the Judicators and the Star Drake remain. And okay, yeah, so I did finish my turn there, and then in the next turn, I shot down, finished off the Sludge Raker with shooting, and then the Star Drake was able to charge the Shaman as a result of that, because it was dead before the charge phase. So that was actually my 4 turns. Oh no, I'm lying, because that 5 is actually for my grand strategy. So my grand strategy was to kill the opponent's general and have my general still be alive. Remington didn't get his, and it just didn't go very well for the Kruleboyz at all here. So one thing he did well was keep a lot of his central units within range of the Sludge Raker's aura to dish out more mortal wounds. The problem is, they never really got to grips with the Star Drake, and I never needed to get the Star Drake to grips with his big Death Star, because I was able to dance around the flank, kill his flyer, and then come in here when the rest of his army was distracted with the Annihilators that landed there. The Sludge Raker went off in this direction when really you want it in the centre of your army to make the most of that aura, and that's something you could have possibly capitalised on a little bit more. MVP, obviously the Star Drake just swarming in there, destroying everything. Flop of the game was the Annihilators. They got the Prosecutors killed with their failure to charge, so the Prosecutors ate an all-out. They ate a... I just totally forgotten what the command ability is called now. Why? Why have I forgotten that? Anyway, you know the one. The one where you shoot the unit that's charging you. I can't believe I've just forgotten the name of that right now. Anyway, that. So the Annihilators did nothing, and then they got killed immediately. Star Drake did all the work, killed everything. Relictor did a decent enough job, except when he wounded himself, failing a prayer. Overall, I think Remington could have probably done with his grots, his hobgrots, because he didn't have enough bodies around any of the objectives. He had to keep all his army so close together because of that aura that he wasn't able to contest everything. And in fact, he shouldn't have been trying to contest everything when he's got a Death Star that needs to stay together. He should have been just concentrating on a triangle kind of area. Stop me holding this, hold one of these, and march towards this one. Would have been a strategy worth contemplating, especially since in turn 1 I'd already dropped down all my units from the heavens in front of him, so he could have just gone forwards willy-nilly, but by then he'd already given away his flyer needlessly. So yes, anyway, if you've got any tactical tips for me or for Mr. Remington, or what you'd like to see in future battle reports, then let me know. The Caldron Overlords are going to be coming out to play in a game. How soon it is, I can't say exactly for sure, but hopefully not too long. Mr. Remington is very busy the next couple of weeks, practicing some musical nonsense or other, and I have just moved house. So, also changing jobs, which I may talk more about at some point soon. There isn't going to be a conventional Andy and Rem show this week, because Rem is unavailable. So I'll see if I'll put something together tomorrow for all you gaming fanatics out there. There'll probably be something going up on the channel, so keep your eyes peeled. If not, then there will be more to come over the next week or two. What have I got coming up? Well, at the end of this month, I've got, I think it's only a couple of weeks away actually, I've got a Dead Zone tournament. And after that, the next event is a Kings of War tournament a few weeks after that. So apart from that, any kind of casual games that I get in will probably be reported right here on this channel. So don't forget to like the video, subscribe and all that good stuff. Check out all the links in the description. And I'll just personally thank all the patrons for this channel quickly. So thank you to Raccoon, Kevin, David, Cedar, Kim, John, Simon, Roshi, Nicholas, Brad and Guy. All of you, very, very appreciated for keeping the lights on this channel. And especially during these times where I'm moving house, changing job, and that small amount of extra cash that flows in allows me to keep this channel rolling. So feel free to join that exclusive club. What I'm saying is, give me all your money so that I can play more games and tell you about them. And I think that's it for this video. So, all that remains to be said is, good night out there, whatever you are.